Hello YouTube and welcome to another video by OA Cheddar. I'm Taylor Dunn, and in this video we are going to be talking about how to identify products that may bring a potential IP risk to your seller account. Now you may be asking yourself, what is an IP complaint or what is IP risk? IP stands for intellectual property, and an IP complaint is a complaint that a brand or whoever has the rights from the brand owner can claim against you on your seller account. We take these very seriously, and so should you. If you get enough IP complaints against your account, you may be looking at suspension. So it's super important to be able to identify products before you purchase them, that if they have a higher risk of receiving an IP complaint. Now there's two IP complaints that you will be hit with as a seller more than the other ones, and that is going to be counterfeit, and that is going to be trademark violations. Counterfeit IP claims are basically when the brand or whoever has the rights from the brand owner is saying to Amazon that you are selling counterfeit products. They normally have to do a test buy, and they're usually pretty easy to fight off if you have the proper receipts from the source that you're purchasing it from, and if that source is a reputable source. You usually can get those off. Trademark violations, on the other hand, are a little bit more difficult. That is where the brand is saying that you are creating confusion in the marketplace, and this can come from selling on a duplicate listing. Maybe the brand has this one listing that has everything perfect. It's accrediting the proper brand name, it's using their images, it has the correct UPC attached to that listing. And then you'll find other Amazon listings where the brand name doesn't necessarily match up. Maybe there's only one image, some really rough bullet points. And the important thing for you to know is, when I make a buying decision, is this a ASIN that may bring me profit, or is this going to bring me headache? So in this video, we are going to try to tackle that, so that way you have some good tools in your tool belt to be able to identify those types of products and either avoid them or purchase them. Now, there are tools out there that make this a lot easier and that allow you to be alerted when you are looking at a potential brand that has filed IP complaints in the past. And we love those tools and we use them every single day. But I will say that those tools are not the end-all be-all for making a decision on whether or not you should purchase or not purchase. They are what they are. They are tools. They're supposed to be helpful guides to help you make the most educated decision as possible. And in this video, I'm going to go over how we personally in our own FBA business look at these product listings and make a decision whether or not we should purchase them or if we should avoid them because of the potential intellectual property complaint that may come on our seller account. Now in this video, I am going to be talking about our 2 strike out rule. There's 3 or 4 different areas that we look at, and if 2 out of those 3 or 4 pieces of information show that there could be a risk of IP complaints in the future, we will normally avoid. Keep in mind, everything needs to be considered, and sometimes there may be 1 strike and we avoid, sometimes there's no strikes and we avoid it. This really is kind of an art, so you have to practice and kind of hone in your skills. But at the end of this video, you should have a pretty good knowledge of some big red flags that you should be avoiding. Also, some products that an IP alert type system may warn you about, but are actually good. And so I believe that our system works really well, and it's worked for us personally in our own FBA business, and I'm sure it's going to work well for you. Before we jump into this video, like always, this video is sponsored by CheddarSoft. CheddarSoft is a lead and order management tool. It is created by us here at OA Cheddar. It is a place where you can deposit and upload all of your lead data, whether it's from lead lists, tactical arbitrage, or your own lead generating efforts, into one database that you can easily search and sort that data to identify certain products that you might want to take advantage of for certain seasons or from certain sales from those source websites. It's also an order management tool that helps you track every order that you place for your business. So whether or not you receive the product or you need to return it to the supplier for a refund, it helps you organize all of that to where you can keep on top of your business. And it's also great to plug in team members with and employees, so that way you can help scale and grow your business to a new level. So enough talking, guys. Let's go ahead and jump in my computer and go over our IP complaint risk system. All right, everyone, we are back in my computer and we are looking at an Amazon listing. So let's go ahead and just dive into our system and how we check for potential IP risks. Also, we make sure we don't remove ourselves from a great opportunity because we're relying only on tools. As we go through this video, let me explain our first two tools that we use. There is two tools that we use to alert us of a potential IP risk. One of them is IP Alert. You'll see that on my screen right now. That is right in the middle of the screen. This pops up every time I'm looking at a product that is from a brand that has been reported to send IP complaints to Amazon sellers. The other tool that we use is ASIN-Zen. ASIN-Zen is a profit calculator, is right here in this section. It does everything that RevSeller does and much more, but they also have a system called AZ Alert, which will also alert you from any potential brands that are a risk of IP complaints. And one thing I really like about ASIN-Zen is that they will also verify and put dates when a seller reports to them of a potential IP risk. They also will follow up and get a confirmation and make sure that it is a legitimate IP claim that seller got, not just receiving an email from them. So a little bit, I would say more detail oriented as far as what they are putting into their calculator. Both systems are super great. If you already have a calculator and you just want to add on the ability to have an alert system for you, IP Alert is perfect. If you are also looking for a calculator as well, you can't go wrong with ASIN-Zen. It is fully built in. You guys can Google search these. If you type in IP Alert, it'll take you to this web page right here where you can get more information on IP Alert and how it works and how to buy it. And then also if you go to asinzen.com, you will also be able to do the same thing. They give you some more information and you can purchase it. I also have the links in the description below, so feel free just to click on those links if you don't want to do any Google searching. The system that I'm going to be talking to you about is our 2-strikeout rule. So in our own business, the way we personally look at potential IP risks is we look for 3 different things. And out of those 3 things, if 2 of them are showing risks of IP claims, we stay away from that product, from purchasing and selling that product. If we only get 1 out of the 3, though, we go ahead and move forward. And then, of course, 0 out of 3, we're good. So the first one is whether or not the listing pulls up an IP alert. If I refresh this page, you will see that as it refreshes, I get an IP alert that pops up. Likewise, in ASIN-Zen, if you see this little gauge here that is turned red, it means it is at a high risk. If it is orange, it means it is a medium risk. And then if it doesn't turn on at all, there is no risk. So that's strike number 1. If we open up a listing and any of our IP alert systems pop off, that's 1 strike. The next thing we look for is going down to the keeper graph. And what we're looking for is offer count drops very similar to what you're seeing right here. As you see I hover over on my cursor, and you can see that you had 9 offers on this listing, and then immediately all at the same time, it dropped down to 4. And then you can see that kind of repeating here where you had 8 offers, it drops down to 5. Maybe not so much this one where it goes from 7 to 5. Yeah, I could believe that maybe two offers got sold, one right after the next. And so you had these 2 offers drop. But when you see offer count drops where there's a high number and then it drops suddenly down to a lower number, and you have these straight lines here, that could be the brand coming through and enforcing IP complaints on sellers and getting them removed off the listing. And I'll hover in on this one. You'll see right here, same thing, had 13 offers, dropped down into 5. That's just very uncommon to see in a Keepa graph, and you can kind of see the pattern throughout the last year. You had 12 offers, now it drops down to 4. And you see that there's, every once in a while you'll see these straight line drops. That would be another strike. If IP alert pops, that's 1 strike. And then if you see evidence like this in the Keepa graph, that is another strike. And for us, that would be enough for us to go ahead and jump off the listing and just not bother even selling this product. The third thing that we're looking for is we go to the offers. And what I'm looking for is I'm looking for any offers that maybe have the brand, or maybe they're a seller that has a crazy amount of seller ratings. And what I mean by crazy amount is I'm looking for something that has 10,000 or more seller ratings and maybe a high level of stock. So if they had 200 units with a ton of reviews, that tells me that that is most likely a wholesaler. They probably have the rights from the owner to sell this product. If I hop onto a listing, I get an IP alert. Keep a graph looks good, or maybe the keep a graph is like a flat line. There's only 2 offers that have ever been on it. But I come over here to the offers and I see offers with very high numbers of stock and also very high numbers of ratings, indicating that they're probably a wholesaler. That gives me reason to pause and could be enough for me to go ahead and not even bother selling on the listing, because even though the brand might not be on the listing, if you have a wholesaler and there's an IP alert, they probably have the rights to file IP claims on behalf of the brand against sellers, and I don't want to mess with that either. So that is our 3 strikeout: IP alert, evidence in the keep a graph, and then also looking at offer counts or the offers on a listing to see whether or not there might be a potential wholesaler or the brand itself selling this product. So let's just go ahead and look at a few examples and why it's important to kind of have a system outside of just relying solely on softwares like IP Alert and ASIN Zen. So this item right here, sharper image, this is an obvious IP risk. If I look at the last 3 months, I see you have these straight line drops. I have IP Alert and ASIN Zen also are telling me that this is a high risk. There's nothing in the offers here that is shouting out potential wholesaler. I got a lot of sellers with very low ratings, so they're probably newer sellers, and they only have 1 to 3 units each. So not really a whole bunch to be worried about for this when it comes to the offers. But the IP alert and the keep a graph is enough for me to stay away from this product. And then I'll also say from experience, I've had a few IP complaints from Sharper Image, so I know they're very protective over their brand. But let's take a look at another product. So here we're looking at a polo hat. Now, Polo gets both an IP alert, and then also on ASIN Zen, it has a moderate level of IP risk. And the reason why it's moderate is the claim has been unverified. Somebody in their community said, hey, Polo is a restricted brand, you'll get an IP complaint. And so what has happened is ASIN Zen has deemed that this claim is worthy to be shared, and so Polo is at a moderate risk, but nothing has been verified. And then IP Alert is just telling me, hey, this brand has been known to file IP complaints against sellers. But I know personally from the last 9 years of experience that we have sold Polo and we have never had an IP complaint from Polo. And I mean, I have sold thousands of Polo products over the last 9 years, tons of socks, tons of these hats actually. I used to buy them from Marshalls and Ross and places like that, but I know that I've never had an issue with Polo. And so if I'm using my system, my 2 strikeout rule system, I get 1 strike because it does pop an IP alert or ASIN Zen is saying that there is a risk. And I'm going to come down here to the keep a graph and I'm going to investigate. Looking at the last 3 months, I can see here that this product is actually selling pretty well. You got these offers that come and sell out fairly quickly. So that's a good sign for me to purchase it. There, I do see where it had 2 offers and then they fell off. That could be because they sold their units. I don't see any crazy straight drops. Let me look at the last year. And again, looking at the offer count, I see these stair-stepping graphs showing me that offers are just naturally going out of stock and falling off the listing. I'm not seeing any straight line drops. So this passes the keep a check. And then what I could come down here is I can go to my FBA offers, and I can look at my FBA offers, and there's no FBA offers that are screaming out a risk to me. I do have a seller that has 7,210 ratings, but they only have 1 in stock. So most likely not a wholesaler, just could be a online arbitrager. And then I see that none of the other offers here are just shouting out to me that potential wholesaler. So using this 2 strikeout system, I'm looking at a product that is potentially a winner for me. And as far as IP risk goes, it's pretty low. I mean, yes, it pulls up an alert from IP Alert, and then it also has a risk for ASIN Zen, but even ASIN Zen is saying that this is an IP claim from their community, so somebody reported to them. They reported to them in July of 2019, so we're talking about 3 years ago, and it was unconfirmed. I can make a decision, and with my risk tolerance, I'm going to go ahead and move forward on a product like this because I want to sell and I want to make money. So I'm willing to take that risk on items. Some of you guys may not be. Some of your risk tolerances may be super low. Maybe you're a newer seller, so getting an IP complaint is a big deal to you because you're a young Amazon seller, We've been doing this for 9 years. I get IP complaints. We appeal them. We fight them. Sometimes we win. Sometimes we don't win. We have to wait for them to fall off our seller account. I'm not worried about this one because everything looks like I should be able to buy this, sell this, and there's not enough evidence here for me to decline this product because of a potential IP risk. So this is just an example of IP alert and Ace and Zen giving you an alert. But if you do some critical thinking and you look at all the evidence, you might make the decision to go ahead and move forward on this product based off of what you're seeing. Let's take a look at this product right here. Now, this product from Tanologist does not pop an IP alert, nor does Ace and Zen have any information on whether or not it is a risk for an IP claim. But I'll tell you guys, Tanologist has definitely filed IP complaints against my account. I actually went and grabbed this listing from my active IP complaints that I am currently fighting right now. There's a reason why we want to look at this system for all products, not just for the ones that are popping an IP alert. So I can see here, IP alert doesn't pop off. That doesn't give me my red flag. So I'll come down here and look at Keepa. And when I'm looking at Keepa, I can see right here that we had an offer count of 31 offers that went away overnight and dropped down to 4 offers. That is a big red sign to me that, hey, they came through and they kicked off a bunch of sellers off of this listing. There could be a potential IP risk here. If I look at the year-long history, I don't see that being the case for the rest of the year. I only see it for this one section. Now, I also noticed that Amazon had, there was no sales rank data movement here as well. So this could be a glitch for Keepa. But I want to look at the all-time, same thing. I don't see much evidence here, but I do see it right here. And it's just really odd to me that you would have 31 offers and then the next day it has 4. So that is a red flag to me. That would be one of our strikes. And so I want to look a little bit deeper into this. Let's look at the offers that are currently sitting on this listing. And as I scroll through here, I can see that all these offers have low ratings and there's not a lot of stock. So there's no wholesale risk with this. I don't see any obvious wholesalers, and I don't see the brand themselves being in stock on this product. Based off of my 2 strikeout rule, technically this one would pass, but I would be really careful looking at this Keepa graph on how many I would purchase. Maybe I want to do a test buy and only purchase a small handful of these products and then start selling them and see what happens. Maybe I'm not going to go super deep into this product because of this Keepa graph here. That being said, again, I have had multiple IP complaints from Tanologist, so I don't purchase from them. Just know that going in. If you come across a Tanologist lead and you've watched this video, hey, Taylor got IP complaints from this brand. Maybe I should stay away from it. But this just goes to show you why you can't just trust the tools. You gotta look at all the evidence to make a decision. And for me, even this Keepa graph would have been enough for me maybe to avoid. There's better products out there, and I'm not going to risk an IP complaint for one single product. The next thing we're going to be talking about is trademark complaints. So trademark complaints are a IP complaint. It's not counterfeit. It is probably the next most commonly filed IP complaint, which is basically saying, hey, you're selling this product on a listing that is not from the brand itself. It's using the brand's images, it's using the brand's name, but it is not the correct listing. And so let's take a look at what I mean by that. I'm looking at MAC Cosmetics here, and MAC Cosmetics, this is a big one. There's a lot of duplicate listings in the Amazon marketplace for MAC Cosmetics. And what do I mean by duplicate listings? I mean, there is a listing for the same product and there's multiple listings for that same product. And the way that folks have made these listings is by using a little bit of the brand's name and a little bit of the information about the product, but not the entire thing. As I'm looking at this, I can see up here, this title looks really weird. OS Paint Pot, Mosh Hill 8 ounce, all in one word. So kind of a funky title right off the get-go. And then the other thing I can see down here is the brand MAC. Now, MAC Cosmetics is the correct brand, but MAC Cosmetics shows their brand by an M, then a dot, then an A, then a dot, then a C. And so this one just saying MAC without any of that, it could be the right listing, it might not be the right listing. And if I'm using my 2 strikeout rule, I see that nothing here I don't get hit with any type of IP alert, nothing from Ace and Zen. So if I scroll down here, I'm looking at the year. I don't see any offer count, sudden offer count drops. Maybe right here where you have 5 offers and then it drops down into 3, but only dropping 2 offer counts within a short period of time doesn't scare me too much, just because Keepa is not tracking all this data every minute of the day. So there could have been items that sold. But even looking at the Keepa graph here, I don't see any sudden drops in the history. Now, I might choose to sell on this listing because I haven't had an IP alert pop. My Keepa graph looks good. And then if I look at the offers here, I'm looking for any type of wholesalers or anything that says MAC Cosmetics. I don't. All the offers here are normal. I have this offer here with 12 units, but they only have 249 ratings, and they are not the brand's name. Based off of my 2 strikeout rule, I could purchase this. But one thing I want to be aware of is this brand MAC. Well, if I come over here to another listing, I see the brand MAC as M.A.C. Now that's a lot closer to what the MAC brand is. That is pretty much almost exactly what it is. And if I look up here in the title, I see that they have MAC in the title. It's the first thing in the title. MAC matte lipstick, honey love, 1 count standard, 3 grams. A normal looking product title, whereas the one before this, there was no mention of the brand's name in the title. And the reason why is because if you're creating a listing and you use the brand's name in the title, but you don't attribute the brand to the proper brand for the product, then you might be running into an issue. So title is usually a good giveaway for, hey, this listing may be one of those duplicate listings. Now you can sell on it and you can you can sell your products and make profit and move on. There's nothing wrong with that. And we've done this many times before. But if you have a low risk tolerance and you can't afford to get an IP complaint, you may want to stay away from listings that don't attribute the brand's name in the title, and likewise have a weird looking brand listed. And I would say that for MAC Cosmetics, this is the correct brand to list it under. It is the most, it's the closest to what the actual brand is. They do provide a UPC code for this product, where for this one, there is no UPC code actively displayed. And then the next one we're gonna be looking at is another MAC Cosmetics product. But notice here, you have MAC in the title, you have the information about the product and it all matches. But coming down here to the brand, you have ACM. You are selling a MAC product, but the brand you are claiming it to be is ACM. That could be a potential trademark violation because it's creating confusion in the marketplace, and MAC has the right to say, hey, this listing that you're selling this product under, this is not attributing the product to the correct brand. It's creating confusion, and you're using our trademarked name and images. Notice that they use the MAC name in the title, but that is a trademarked name. And so if you're going to be using that name, you want to make sure that brand that you have it listed under is a match to the brand that you are selling. And if it is not, just know that you're walking into a potential IP complaint for trademark reasons because you're selling on a listing that is technically it's a little confusing to the customers, and MAC would have the right to file that IP complaint against you. And again, looking at this one, this passes my 2 strikeout rule. I don't have any IP alerts that pop off for this. If I come down to Keepa, I can see that the last 90 days looks good. The last year, I don't see any sudden rank drops in this, so this wouldn't be popping any red flags for me. And then if I look at the offer count as well on this product, I can see that there isn't any sellers with a crazy amount of stock and a crazy amount of seller ratings as well. So there's a good chance that there isn't any wholesalers on this product. Again, if you have a lower risk tolerance, you may want to avoid this listing because the brand name isn't being attributed to the actual product itself. They're calling it something different, and that can get you in trouble. With something like this, you have almost 3,000 days of history on this product. So could you sell it and be safe? Most likely. But if you don't want to take a risk, you may want to avoid these. And when you're looking at products and that you are wanting to sell, you want to make sure that you're checking things like the brand name and making sure that it's a match. If you want to be checking Keepa, you want to be checking IP Alert or Ace and Zen, and you also want to be checking the offers. Now, guys, if you do all those things, you should find yourself in a pretty safe bet. All right, guys, and the nice thing that I can do is I can come over here and say I find a product that I'm like, hey, you know, this isn't, I don't want to risk my account health for this. So I want to make sure that I don't buy this product and I don't want to buy it in the future. You can just grab the ASIN, come over here in a Cheddar Soft, and you go ahead and just run a search for that ASIN, and it will pull up the lead that you're looking for. And then you can just come in here and add a tag, IP risks, to it. And maybe even you can add the, not restricted. And I don't have a do not buy or a blacklist tag for this right now, but maybe I want to create one. Maybe I want to create a blacklist tag. This is just going to tell my buyers that, hey, this product, this lead is blacklisted. Please do not use it anymore. So I create the tag, and I can come in here. Well, once I create it, it automatically applies. So now I have my blacklist and my IP risk tag associated with this lead. So now I can either filter it out of my results so I don't see it in the future, or my team knows when they're going through and looking for replens not to purchase this product because it has been deemed an IP risk and we have blacklisted it. That's the beauty of Cheddar Soft, guys. It allows you to add tags to your leads and to your data. So as you're going through and you're buying, but also when you're selling, and when you do come across a brand that you realize, hey, this is a brand that I don't want to sell anymore, you can come into Smart Data, search that brand, and you can add these tags to it, so that way you can remove them from your search results, or that your team knows, hey, don't purchase this. We already purchased it before. We tried selling it. We ended up getting hit with an IP claim, and we are no longer selling this brand or this specific product any longer. Other than that, guys, that's going to wrap it up for this video. If you have any questions, please feel free, comment below. If you like the video, like and subscribe to the channel. And if you feel like this information could be helpful to a friend or a family member, please feel free to share it. We would greatly appreciate that. Other than that, folks, I will see you on the next one.